tiny Fran in the corner today, as I am just going to be answering a few quick questions that I've gotten. And yeah, let's just dive straight into it. The first question I got from the last video is, what the hell is this database collection hub? What is it doing there? What is in there? So let me just explain this briefly. The database collection hub is the place in which we store all our original databases. So I just made this activity zone here. As you can see in this first activity zone video, we created a few databases. Now, the original one can be recognized because it doesn't have a little arrow key, right? So this one over here is the original database, whereas this one over here is a linked version of that same database. And the same goes for this one over here. Let me just quickly toggle that title. As you can see, these are all linked versions of this main database. Now, as our system starts growing, we're going to be building more and more databases. So it can be very helpful to put all the original databases in one place so that whenever we modify something, whenever we link something, we know where the original one is. Now, the reason for this is twofold because, let me just open this one up. When we make a change in the original database, and whenever we then link this original database in a different place, we can use these views, right? This is a view, that is a view. We can then use these views in the linked versions of this database. So let me just show you what that looks like. We're gonna create a linked view of this action hub, and as you can see over here, it allows us to easily and quickly copy in those existing views. So that is the first purpose of making changes in the original database. The second purpose is that whenever the system starts growing and we might want to delete certain aspects, right? I just deleted this one right over here. We just want to delete databases. We want to make changes. If we delete the original database, all of the links, all of the other instances of this database are going to be damaged by that. So we don't want to accidentally delete or perma-delete our main database. So instead, we keep them all in one central place. So how do we make this work for ourselves? Let's go back to the previous page. It's very simple. We just create a page /page. We're going to call it database collection hub. And then inside this page, we can start making databases. Now, one way to make a database is by typing inline and creating an inline database. But actually what we want to do, an even easier way, is we're going to say /page. As a new page opens up, we're going to go down here to databases. We're going to click table, and this is a new standard database. This is the easiest version of a database. And now if we go back here in this collection hub, we have a standard database, right? And we might want to make a second database. We're just going to create a new database, second database. And just like that, we're going to add all our databases in this collection hub. Now, we're also going to grab the databases, the original ones that we've already used throughout the system, and we're going to move them into our collection hub. So let's say we go back into this activity zone. We just go straight in there, find the original one so we can recognize that because it doesn't have this arrow. We go to the 3 dots over here, and then we're going to say move this database. Let's see, move this. My apologies. We have to go to 6 dots on the left. We say move this database to, and then we're going to say collection hub. And then let's make sure we get the right one. There we go. The collection hub we just created. And as you can see, okay, so this is actually good. Now our database is in here as an inline database, but we want to keep this page clear and concise. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this database into a page, right? It says it right over here, turn into page. So 6 dots, turn into page. We click turn into page, and there you go. That is our Action Hub database. Now we can still link this database as much as we want. As you can see over here, right? We can still link this database, but now we know where the original one lives. So that's the purpose of this database collection hub. It just helps us to collect all the main databases that we have in our system and keep a clear overview of everything, the driving engine of our personal life hub. All right, the second question I got is, why does my activity zone look so much different than the activity zone that I shared in the first video? So just as a reference point, this was the activity zone I shared in the first video. And yeah, it does look a lot different. The reason why it looks different is because Notion added a completely new user interface to how their databases are used. And actually, this used to be the way to kind of store a lot of information in one page, but right now we can do that in a lot easier manner. So let me just show you how that works. To keep in mind, let me just show you real quick what we actually have on this page. We have the daily review. We have the Action Hub Quick Capture, Action Hub Today's Actions, Daily Review, and we have the Due Date Calendar. Now, I have these exact same views. I just have them in an even more concise way. So as you can see over here are my daily actions. These are all my daily to-dos, right? I got the filters here. These are all my daily to-dos. I have my daily tracker right over here. I have my due date calendar right over here. And I have my projects, my goals, and my habits. They're all very easily accessible from this one single page. So the way that we do this is we go down here and we're going to say we're going to create a linked database, right? So in this previous part, we just put all our main databases in this hub. Now what we want to do is we want to start linking databases. So let me go Action Hub, and then we're just going to grab Action Hub 1 over here. The reason why I have so many is because I'm working on this entire system and I give them different labels. For you, it should only be one. And as you can see, we now linked to this Action Hub. We can create all the filters, all the views, all the sorts to make it do exactly what we want. And then right over here, we can add a new view. Now, the cool thing that Notion allows you to do is that in this new view, you can reference a completely different database, right? So over here, I could say, I want to reference the daily review. And there you go. We reference the daily review. And then maybe over here, I want to say, I want to reference my projects. And then let's see, project tracker. And as you see, this already starts coming together nicely because right over here, we have the Action Hub, we have the daily review, we have the projects tracker. Maybe you want to have the Action Hub again, but this time we want to have it as a, let me just go into layout. This time we want to have it as a calendar. So we can actually recreate this entire view, which we previously had on this long page, simply by stacking up a series of different views in our database. And then we can name them accordingly, right? So we're going to say this one is, open up the little emoji panel. Oh. This one is action, daily actions. This one is daily review. This one's project, and so forth, right? We can start creating these views. And the reason why we do this is because the activity zone is the place where we want to have everything that is related to our daily execution. What are the things that we are up to now? What are the things that we are working on now? What are the action items that I'm working on now? What is the things that I need to track today? Right? What is my calendar for today and for the next week? Which projects are currently active, right? Which projects are currently in progress? Which goals am I currently working on? Which habits am I currently implementing in my life? I want to have all these things in one easy to navigate and easy to digest manner. So that's why I have it like this. It's a very simple way to have everything in one place. And once again, the main database lives in a separate place. I very rarely go into the main database and I use all these different views, these different dashboards to kind of find my way through the system. So that's how you can build the activity zone like I have done it right over here. And then the third and final question that I got. All right, that brings us to the third and final question that I want to cover, and that is how to actually use the project tracker that we built in the last video. So I'm just going to show you how I use it over here. In this view, in the activity zone, I have all my active projects. During my weekly review, I review all the projects that I have in the database, and that's something that I'll show you in the next video. But for now, I'll just show you all these active projects. Let's say I were to start a new project, right? I want to build a website for Meaning Crafter. I'm going to go right in there and say new project. And then right down here, I'm going to generate this template, open the page, command enter. I'm going to say build website for Meaning Crafter. All right. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to assign a priority. I'm going to say this is first priority. I'm going to give it a review date, which is the date on which I'm going to check in with this project, which is also something we'll cover in the weekly review. And then I'm going to say a timeline date. Okay, so the project starts today and the end date is going to be, well, let's be ambitious. We're going to say 31st of May, right? I'll give myself 6 weeks here to complete this project. Now, I put in the goal, the completed, and the progress bar. These three things are working together as a little extra. You don't have to do this, but if you want to track your progress, this can be a cool, fun little feature that you can implement. So what I'm going to say is the goal is going to be 10. This is an arbitrary number. I use this to scope how big a project is. If a project is very big, I might give it 20. If it's small, I might give it 5. And then as I'm progressing through this project, I kind of just feeling wise add numbers for how much work I've done. So let's say I did quite a lot of work in the first 2 weeks. I might say, okay, I've completed 2 out of 10 approximately, and I get a little progress bar. So this is really just something that I do feeling wise. It's not the most accurate thing, but as I go and work on, let me just go back there, on all these multiple projects, it gives me a quick way to kind of overview how far all of them are coming along. So if you want to use this, you can simply copy this formula from the template, and then I'm going to go down here. So I have a quick reminder for myself with things that are important when I start a project, right? Properly scope a project at the beginning. This is just something I want to remind myself of. Don't work on too many projects at once. These are just short reminders that I want to tell myself whenever I start a new project. Once I've been reminded, I just delete that. And then I'm going to fill in these 4 sectors, right? Why am I doing this project? I want to be visible on the internet, right? I want to have a strong brand. What are the objectives for this project? Building a website that is ready to be published. Okay, right? I'm just going to fill these in real quick. What is the scope of this project? First iteration of the website should be standalone. And maybe the resource and limitations, I'm willing to spend 35 euros per month on Webflow. All right, you can scope this as you see fit. Take some time to fill this in. This is not the most interesting part for now. I think I made this quite clear in the last video. What I want to focus on is how to use these linked databases over here. So as I've created all of this, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to start scoping my project. I'm going to start planning my project ahead. Now, there's 2 ways that we can do this. Either we can start filling in all the actions that we know that need to be done already, right? So I could say make lo-fi wireframes for website. And I could say buy domain name for website. Design hi-fi wireframes for website, right? I can start filling in all these tasks that already need to happen for my website. This is a totally valid way, but if you want to have a little more overview of what needs to happen, you can use project chunks. And these are sort of intermediary steps between the whole project and the action items. So these are things that might take a few days or a week. So these are a collection of tasks, but they're not nearly the entire project. So what I might say is, okay, we'll just bring this to today. First stage is designing the website, right? That's the first part. Then the second part is going to be programming the website. And then the third part might be marketing the website. Now I have a nice little timeline overview of everything that needs to happen, right? I can drag this around a little bit. I could add more steps if I see necessary, gather feedback on website, right? These are all things I don't do in one sitting. I'm not going to design the entire website in one sitting, but designing the website is something completely different than programming the website. So I can come in here to kind of scope the project, plan the project ahead. And then as the weeks start unfolding, I can go inside one of these chunks. I'll go inside. I've created a template here. This one's called website project. I'm just going to open that up real quick. And then I'm going to say filter contains build website for Meaning Crafter. Now, inside this chunk, I linked the action database, right? I created a linked version of the action database. And within this linked version, I filtered all the action items that go in here, both on the project that we're in, which is building the website for Meaning Crafter, but I also filtered it on this chunk. So whenever I enter a new task here, right? So we're designing the website, I'm going to say make a mood board for the website. And I'm going to say make lo-fi wireframes for the website. What you can see over here, and I'm going to go all the way over here, is that these tasks are related to both the project and to this chunk. What this means is if I would not relate it to this chunk, which is the page that we are in right now, the task is going to disappear, right? Because we filtered it to say only show the action items related to this specific chunk. So Command Z, I'm just going to bring that back. The nice thing is, because it's also related to the project, that if we now go back into our project, we're going to go back into our project and we're going to go to action items, we can see that these tasks have now also been added to this list, right? But we can also see that they're part of the chunk designing the website. So by doing this, we can plan out our project over the medium term, and then inside all these chunks, we can actually formulate the action items. And once the action items are in here, we can simply give them a due date. Let's just give them the due date today, right? And we're going to say win the day. We'll do one more. I'm going to say win the day. And if I now go into my activity zone at the beginning of the day, I am ready to work, and right over there are my tasks for the project, build website for Meaning Crafter, right? So inside my website, inside my project, I can add action items. I can give them a due date. I can give them a priority. And then as I'm working in my action zone, I can exactly see which tasks are there and which project it is related to. So that is how I use my project's database. I'm linking all these different databases to this project so that inside of this view, I only see the things that are necessary for this project, but I can also reference them in different views, right? For example, in my activity zone. We're going to do the same with notes later on. We're going to do the same with goals later on, with media, but that's all coming in the future. That's not something we need to think about right now. But it is good to know that inside this page, everything that we need to manage and execute on this specific project is all gathered in one place. And the moment we're working on it, the moment I'm ticking my to-do list right over here in my activity zone, I can just go into this project really easily, and I got all the information, all the material that I might need in one single place. And that is truly the power of the project tracker. It allows us to get a very clear overview of all this information that we have and easily reference it in different places. All right. those are the 3 questions that I had. If you guys have more questions, drop them at any time. I can easily record a video like this. And yeah, my apologies for not showing my face. It takes some time to edit the videos with the face. And considering this is just a very quick questions and answer, we're doing it slightly different. All right, if you got more questions, let me know, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.